All right, good morning, good afternoon, class. Now that you've gone through majority of the slide deck, let's go ahead and start practicing what we've learned. All right, so you are going to be actually conducting actual research on a scenario that's going to be provided in this slide deck. All right, the main thing you're going to be using to jot down your information or your data will be Google Sheets, which is basically another version of Microsoft Excel. So take a moment, get that ready. Teacher, pause the video if need be. Make sure everybody has that before we continue on. All right. Hopefully everybody is ready. Let's go ahead and get into it. So the first thing we're going to start talking about is data summaries. All right. This is the organization and presentation of the raw evidence collected during our research. All right. So here is an example of what I mean. So we should all have Google Sheets open, but I've already worked ahead, and this is going to be our organized section of where we'll be placing our data. All right, so the scenario you're going to be given is going to be talking about a shoe retail review. There's going to be an analyst that's going to be reviewing the amount of shoes sold. All right, the main areas that you're going to want to have is the type of shoe that was sold. You're going to have how many of those shoes were sold. I'll also show you how to actually calculate percents. And because of these percents, we're going to have top sellers. The reason I have these is because it's going to basically give you all the key items that is found in UX research. All right, so again, this is where we're going to be collecting all of our data. This is our data summary. So teacher, please pause, give them time to get this down so that when we go through the scenario, it'll already be highlighted of what they'll need, and we'll go through percent of sales and top sellers later. All right, now here is our actual scenario. A retail analyst reviewed last quarter's sales data for a shoe store focusing on 5 key product categories. Running shoes were the top seller with 850 pairs sold. Casual sneakers, they sold 510 pairs. Dress shoes, 420 pairs. While hiking boots sold 270 pairs and sandals sold 150 pairs total. All right. Now, this breakdown helps the store manager decide which shoe types to order more heavily for the next sales cycle. Again, this is the whole purpose of UX research. Again, getting that information to help people make better decisions, improve products, improve product processes. All right. So let's go ahead and go back to our spreadsheet. And here we're going to be placing in that same information. Now that we're back on our presentation, here is where you basically put in the numbers of each sale or how many pairs of shoes were sold. This is, again, you going through the scenario, pulling that information out, which again is bolded for you in the presentation slide deck. Again, running shoes has this many, so on and so forth. I've also added at the bottom the total amount of shoes. This is going to help us find the percent of sales, which allows us to, again, have more evidence to show which shoe is the top seller. All right. So now let's go ahead and find these percents. We are going to actually learn how to create functions or formulas in Google Sheets. So here, we're going to be creating a formula. We're going to start off with the equal button, and we're going to select certain numbers. So we already know to find a percent, we have to take the very first number, which is actually what we sold, and compare that to the total amount of shoes sold. That gives us a percentile. All right, so we're going to select the very first running shoe. We're going to give us a slash, which stands for divide. And then we're going to, again, select total shoes. It gives us kind of a preview here of what it should show. And because this is a formula, or sorry, a percentile, we're going to make sure we add that in there. So because these sections are already turned into a section for percents, it will automatically give us 38.64%. Alrighty, now that's exactly the percentile out of 100. 100% that running shoes calculated for the total amount of shoes sold. And we're going to go ahead and do the remainder in a little bit. So let's do one more practice, and then I'm going to give you a free chance to actually practice using formulas. All right, so again, equal sign to start a formula, highlight dress shoes, the amount sold, slash for divide. That can be found in your numpad, or it can be found right next to the right side shift button, which holds the question mark. Select your total shoes sold, Press enter, gives us 19%. Alrighty, so here's what I want you to do. Teacher, please pause the video. Allow them to get the remaining percentiles for the last 3 shoes sold. All right, and we're back, and we should have these percentiles for those last 3 shoes. 23% for casual shoe, 6.8% for sandals, and 12.27% for hiking boots. And I've already provided the top sellers. Again, this is where we should be from 1st through 5th. Again, with running shoe being first and sandals coming in dead last. Alrighty. Now, this is just one example of a data summary, again, which is just you organizing and presenting your found data from your research. You can use Google Presentation, you can use Google Slides, PowerPoint presentations, you can even use Microsoft Word to make an actual word-by-word report showcasing the same information. Alrighty. Now, we're going to be using or going to our very next section. So please do not close out Google Sheets because you will be using it again. I'll see y'all in the next one.